I want to go to Wendy Patrick, who's filling in for Legal Lise here today. Each week we take a look at, with Lise Wheel from Fox News, 3 stories and take a legal look at each one of those stories. Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Wendy, let's whip through these topics here, and because I know you're always on a schedule. Inauguration Day, Friday. Who is President-elect Trump expected to nominate to the Supreme Court? That's a big question on everybody's mind right now.
Well, the big answer that he seems to be tossing about is Bill Pryor. Now, this is a very conservative federal judge, staunch Catholic. Attorney General of Alabama prosecuted the Supreme Court justice there for putting in a statute of the Ten Commandments. I mean, it's one of those picks that would be almost controversial on both sides to some extent, but widely revered by conservatives, which would make his confirmation hearing probably a little more explosive for the liberals. But that seems to be the odds-on favorite for the next couple of weeks at least for Mr. Trump to nominate. Now,
this really doesn't change the dynamic of the Supreme Court because he would be replacing Scalia, a conservative. It's the next, if there becomes the next opening where this could really make for a big difference on the court.
Well, it would be a double whammy if it was somebody like Bill Pryor and then another Supreme Court pick. It would change the dynamic and the social and legal landscape on so many different levels. Given that he did choose a significant conservative, one can only imagine that's going to be his next pick as well.
All right, interesting. I want to do one more topic. This police charge 13 in the Florida to Ohio drug conspiracy. What is that?
That's right. Drug trafficking is a big problem in our country. And, we don't talk about it enough. We don't hear about it enough. And part of the reason is a lot of the investigation is under the radar. In other words, they're not looking for the little guys. They're trying to find the kingpins. And this particular case involved 13 people that were arrested. This conspiracy went from Florida to Ohio. We are talking 12,000 pain pills sold in a 15-month span. That is about $165,000. We're talking about big money. Now, currently it's being tied to a Florida doctor, and of course those pills were sold in central Ohio, but it's got to be bigger than that. And that's the thing. These people are watched for so long before an indictment is made, before charges are filed, so you can bet there's a lot of legwork that's been done, and there's a lot more to this story. And there are concurrent operations just like this going on in every one of our cities to try to protect ourselves and our young people from using illicit drugs.
The other one I wanted to ask on, and just squeeze one more quickly, and that is the Orlando shooter's wife was arrested. Does this stand up that she might have known something and didn't do anything about it? Is that is breaking the law, depending on the state?
Absolutely. It's a federal charge as well. We could go on forever on this one because a conspiracy only involves somebody participating in the planning and then this agreement to commit an act. Now, there's a variety of things that she could have been charged with. The grand jury indicted her with 2 things, providing support to ISIS and then, of course, obstruction of justice. Both of those are incredibly serious crimes. The delay in charging her from the time of the crime that her husband committed, which was, of course, June of 2016, goes to show you the legwork that was done to be able to prove this case in court. So it's moving forward finally now. She had her first appearance this week, and it's good news for people that have been watching the case and wondering whether, in fact, there was enough evidence to tie her to it. And the officials are moving forward.
End of the day, if you know something could happen, someone is plotting something, you could be arrested for not reporting it. Is that what we take out of this?
Federally. That's what. Then there's a lot of confusion surrounding this. In other words, people suspect crime all the time. They're not going to be charged by not doing anything. It's a federal crime, and there's much more to it than that. It's actually. I would invite people to read the indictment. It's online. It explains in a little more detail, so people don't worry about they suspect something's going to happen. They're going to be arrested for not stopping it. There's much more to the story than that, and these are, of course, federal charges. But it is interesting that is one of the theories under which she was charged.
All right, Wendy Patrick in for Lise Wheel. Thanks so much. We'll talk again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right.